In less than 24 hours, the presidential aspiration of 5 hopefuls in the NPP race will come to an end. A group constituted of super delegates will head to the polls to elect 5 out of the 10 aspirants for the main Congress in November. 955 delegates are expected to cast their ballots in 17 voting centers across the country, with the EC entrusted the responsibility to conduct the elections. Aspirants have only close of today to wrap up their campaigns, as the party bans any form of campaigning or congress tomorrow. But political governance expert with CDD Ghana, Dr. John Osai Kwapong, says delegates should consider electing a candidate that has the competence of breaking the 8 for the NPP.
Okay. In terms of what the super delegates would have on their mind, but even beyond the super delegates, I think the key thing for the NPP Electoral College, as they figure out who should be their flag bearer for the 2024 election, will definitely be, as I've mentioned, I'm sure the primary thing on their mind is breaking the 8, right? So if they look at all the 10 candidates, who do they think has the best chance of allowing them, to break the 8, will definitely be, I think, the thing that, or at least in my opinion, I think that is what is going to drive the dynamics, of this race. Who can they hedge their bets on to allow them, to break the 8? But again, intra-party democracy is such that you never know what other dynamics or thinking, may be going in the minds of delegates and what they might do to torpedo this race. I have regularly said, and I don't have the benefit of any scientific polls or anything, but I have regularly said that for me, I will be very surprised if Dr. Bawumia doesn't do well tomorrow, pull it off, and doesn't pull it off ultimately in the primary. I've regularly said that. I think he's the establishment's candidate, he's the establishment's preference. Sure, the delegates may or may not do what the establishment wants them to do. They may want to go in a very different direction. But if I were to hedge my bets on any of the candidates pulling it off tomorrow in first position and pulling it off ultimately in November, my bet would be on Dr. Bawumia.
Political marketing expert Professor Kobi Mensah indicates that all the aspirants have gained attention from delegates and can spring a surprise.
This is an internal politics primary, so certainly you would say that almost all of them are connected to the delegates. We have seen a media report. The various, kind of visits that the candidate has made, particularly, Alan Chamanten, Bawumia, for example, and then, of course, you have Kennedy Japan. You've seen, Kwabene Japan also, going around with a lot of media, attention, a lot of reports on there. You've seen Boate Jako. So pretty much almost all of them, of course, the agri minister had been seen, connecting with, the delegates. So from the perspective of, say that personal selling, i.e. meeting the delegates, they have, pretty much, done that. Of course, in marketing, there are other things that you want to talk about, apart from the idea that they are meeting the people. You're also talking about the brand's own equity, the kind of things that they say, that, kind of go a long way to benefit them or their position. So for me, I think that in terms of they putting themselves forward, almost, all the major, candidates have done that from the evidences that we've seen in the media, the engagement with the people. So if you want to, take that one as the marketing, then certainly they have. But of course, in terms of marketing, we're also looking at, how targeted they are. Of course, you've got to segment and target your market with particular messages, and with particular, sort of attention.
Political scientist Dr. Amwakoba is, however, alleging machinations by some bigwigs in the NPP to favor their preferred candidates.
The real agenda is not for some people. It is not to just eliminate some. For some people, they have a different agenda. They want to look at the percentage of win, the margin of victory, and from that, they come in with the main agenda. I'm talking about Baumia's camp.
Okay.
And it came out about 2 days ago when Ofeche Bonsu was saying, we all know he's a Baumia supporter. He said it before. Now he says, if any candidate gets more than 70%, it will be wise for the party to throw their support behind such a candidate and make him on the page. That is the agenda for them. So if you see they are working very hard, that's what it is.
Will that agenda happen? Is it something that could possibly happen?
Oh, it's entirely possible. That's why they fought against concentration in one area. That's why they agreed to holding the election nationwide.